Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Okay, come back from getting your breakfast or your snack. We're going to have a great panel here. Our panelists are all experts in small business and have all won major awards for major events for sports and entertainment. So I think there's a lot to be learned. I'm Mary Leslie. I'm president of the Los Angeles Business Council, and I'm also proud to say I'm the founder of Compete for LA, which is a program for small business that I'll talk about a little later, but I'll encourage many of you to come to our website and check it out. But today, I'm thrilled to be the co-moderator of today's panel with my colleague, Rosa. Rosa?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosa Penalosa, Assistant Chief Grants Administrator with the City of Los Angeles Economic and Workforce Development Department. And I am here with Mary. We will both be co-leading this panel, which is Winning Big, Lessons from Small Businesses Behind Major Events. We are super excited. We are joined by 3 small businesses who have gotten through the process and they have reached a touchdown. And what I mean by that is they have gotten certified, they have gotten ready, and most important, they have acquired contracts with large events like the Super Bowl. So here they are today to share a little bit of that process that they went through, some of the challenges, the hurdles, some of the successes, and most important, they're here for you to actually learn a little bit as you go through the process, and hopefully you can walk away with something that will help you be a winner of the next procurement opportunity. Back to you, Mary.
That's right. So joining us on today's panel are Luis Gonzalez, Directed Link LLC. He is the Chief Executive Officer. He oversees its 10 business divisions, including Contingent Workforce Group, Professional Services Group, Government Solutions Group, and the Hospitality Group, which specializes in SEER-level events, which you're going to explain to us what SEER-level events are. Okay. Hospitality and event staff augmentation solutions. Next to him is Naomi Mendoza for Cuernavacas Grill. She is a second-generation owner, growing her family business into multiple locations and major government contracts, with features spanning local, national, and international outlets, including the Food Network, the Drew Barrymore Show, and Times Square's NASDAQ billboard. And last but not least is Julio Garcia with Jive Live. Okay, there are fans. He is the founder and president of Jive Live Entertainment, a premier event production company specializing in culturally authentic, large-scale experiences. With nearly 2 decades of experience, having managed over 1,000 events in LA. So we've been to your events, haven't we, Julio? Yep. Okay, including large-scale, stadium-scale activations for Red Bull and the LA Clippers, to community celebrations that unite diverse audience. So we've got an exciting and informative session ahead, so let's dive in. Louis, let's start with, as a proud supplier who works with the NFL, in fact, you've done 5 NFLs, correct? Okay. Can you briefly share a bit about what you do and how your business first got involved in bidding for high-profile events like the Super Bowl?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having us. Our firm started working with the NFL through the Business Connect program here in Los Angeles back in 2000, and that was our introduction to working with the NFL and their procurement process. And that's where we learned of the various opportunities, but more importantly, we learned how to work with the subcontracts with the NFL. These are major events that require a lot of procurement, and they're procuring so many different things. And so being part of the Business Connect program really allowed us to really focus on our capabilities. And so my biggest takeaway, one of the biggest takeaways that I have and why we've been successful has been really because we've highlighted our capability, our competitive advantage. I think every small business here has an advantage. You have services and you're really good at what you do. And that's one of the things that we did, and the Sports Business Connect program allowed us to highlight our expertise. And that's what the primes are looking for. They're looking to buy from you, and they're looking to looking to work with companies that can deliver what they're looking to buy, and more importantly, companies they're looking for vendors that know how to work with the prime. So most of the contracts that you see out there are subcontract work. They're being managed by a prime, and so you really have to do your homework and engage with the primes in order to get these contracts and collaborate with the various partners involved.
And Julio, just for fun, Luis, just for fun, who validates the fact that you're really good at what you do?
Ultimately, it's the NFL. It's the primes that we work with. So within these big organizations, there's a lot of production companies involved, and they all oversee different aspects of the major events. And so it's really the primes that you work with that kind of evaluate what you do, and they're the ones that you're contracted to do the work that you're signed to do.
Well, thank you, Luis, for that. So now we're moving on to Naomi. And so how many of you actually want to have a contract, or actually, how many of you have a contract right now? Hands. All right, a few. And then how many of you want to acquire a contract? Oh, yes. So you are in the right place with these wonderful panelists here, right? So Naomi, we have so many programs in the city of Los Angeles, county of Los Angeles, and an abundance of resources. And Luis just touched upon one, Business Connect. Now you're going to touch upon Procure LA and a couple of others. But tell us about your business and what strategies or resources were most instrumental in helping your business win multiple contracts in the restaurant industry.
Yes, so Cuernavaca's Grill was founded by my father, Marcos Mendoza, 20 years ago. We just turned 20 this past Cinco de Mayo. And
congratulations.
Thank you. So my dad has always been community oriented, and having a multi-generational business, you really get to do business and do community with everyone from local school districts to the police department. And when I came into ownership, I realized that we were already kind of doing government procurement without doing it officially. So the second year of my ownership, the Super Bowl happened. So we were able to partake in that, and that was able to set us aside, and a lot of primes were starting to look at us. And I really looked at my dad's expertise and our entire team's expertise, and I was like, okay, I think we're capable of being a prime, but how do we get there? So I just started asking questions, and then I came across Procure LA, I came across PACE, I started getting mentorship, I started truly understanding what a certification was, what a SO was. I remember they had reached out and they're like, oh, well, we need your statement of work, and I was like, what's that, right? There's a lot of terminology that I didn't understand, but I was like, okay, so he has a resume, let me master this, because the next few years, for LA, there's so many opportunities for small businesses to continue to span for generations to come. So, we would just sit there, and I realized what pitching, to a contractor was. I realized, hey, the certification can get me there. So yeah, I would just be taking advantage of those programs. The city of LA really champions small businesses, and they want us to grow. So we have all these resources. There were so many good resources today and so many good takeaways. So my biggest piece of advice is to, go home, do your homework, and, start creating an action plan.
Thank you for that, Naomi. Congratulations. Mary.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Julio, I'm wondering, you've had diverse experience both with the Business Connect program and with the LA Sports and Entertainment. Can you share a little bit about that experience and why you were successful?
Yes, thank you so much. And good morning, everybody. You should be happy. Today, showing up is the first step. So proud of you all for showing up this morning. My name is Julio Garcia, president of Jive Live Entertainment and Event Production Company. Also proud board member of the Weingart East Los Angeles YMCA and the UCLA Latino Alumni Association. Got to get that shout out. When we got accepted to the Business Connect program, I thought, okay, cool. We'll get to meet some cool people, maybe get a couple of leads. But what I didn't realize was how it would change how I operated my business, how we saw ourselves as a diverse small business in Los Angeles, and how we show up, right? The Business Connect program offered many programs, from learning how to do government contracting, making sure that we're certified, applying for RFPs, sending us the RFPs, because sometimes we don't know where they're at, right? So shout out to Simona. Where's Simona? Somewhere in here. Woo! We love you. But more importantly than the contracts, it gave us credibility. It allowed us to build community with the vendors in this room and gave us a network, right? It reminded us, and I think everyone's here for this reason today, that together we matter and we belong in this room. So the Business Connect gave me that opportunity, and that's why I'm up here today speaking with you all. Go Dodgers.
Well, thank you for that, Julio. Now I have just a couple of questions as, any one of you would like to respond. But Naomi, what are some key steps or best practices when preparing a bid for a major sports or entertainment event or contracts?
I would say getting to decipher the contract and the capability and being prepared overall. There are so many opportunities, and I know for us, I was like, okay, we are capable of that, but then you look down the list and you're like, okay, do I have my certifications? Do I understand what that truly is? And again, I circle back to these programs that we do have available. There have been, some bids that I'm like, okay, I need to master this, and I would contact, Procure LA or PACE, and we would go through, a mock, interview and potential questions that they can ask, and just, again, it all circles back to preparation.
Very good. Key question, preparation. Seeking for resources, looking for the answers, getting it done, because it's not going to come to you from just anywhere. And so, Julio, tell me what anything that you've done, that you recommend for best practices?
Thank you for that question. Yes. One of the things I've learned is you don't have to compete to win, right? You don't have to compete to win. I think a lot of the time we're trying to win the bid. I believe in the law of attraction, so you track the opportunities. But more importantly, understanding your client, understanding their needs and what they're looking for. They know authenticity when they see it. They rather have someone that's going to be a straight shooter with them. Don't overpromise. I think they can smell that a mile away when we try to overpromise or try to do too much. And to make sure you're great at what you do. You don't have to do everything. We got this room full of amazing vendors right in this room, right?
Yes.
Pick each other up. Call somebody. I don't know, since I've been a part of the Business Connect program, I think 90% of my vendors are from this program, right? And I've been given opportunities, I give opportunities, and that's what it's about, working with each other, helping each other, and picking each other up so we can make it to the next level in our business.
Thank you. And Luis, do you have any advice for our business owners here?
Absolutely. So one of the things I want to let everyone know that for these programs and the procurement process, it takes up to a year. So a lot of these contracts are out there months out, and it takes a lot of timing and preparation. So you got to know your deadlines. Direct to Link Hospitality, we oversee the staffing for major events. So we're hiring thousands of people for these major events. It takes us quite a bit of time, and we have to commit to our suppliers. And so preparation deadlines, so when you see these procurement opportunities, they're coming out 6-8 months out before event time. They don't happen a month out before. So I think you have to be very diligent. You have to show up to these events. You got to network. You have to build your own network. And like Julio said, you have to support each other. And we have so many opportunities in Los Angeles, conferences, special events, concerts. There's just so many opportunities out there. I promise you, if you get one small contract, you're going to get a bigger one next time. And that next one's going to lead to a bigger opportunity because people are seeing the quality of your work. And that's how you build your network, truthfully. And this is why we're here. I think we've all been in your side. And I definitely do encourage all of you to partake in the many opportunities that are out there and join the various platforms that are procuring and advocating for you to get these contracts.
You heard him loud and clear. You start off with one small contract, you leverage your network. Most importantly, if there's something you can't do, partner with someone. There's an abundance of opportunities. There's resources available. The city of Los Angeles has, so many different diversified programs that can help you. Everyone has a niche, is very specific. You can't do what everything is custom, right? Every business is very unique. And so, and then partner with others, learn from others. Look at these wonderful 3 small businesses that have been able to get ahead. And so with that, Mary, going back to you.
Yeah, so what I'm going to talk a little bit more about is information, because what everyone here is saying is they connected up somewhere, right? And got into a system that had a whole network of opportunities. So what Rosa just said about, take a look at the QR codes on the information you were provided today, because that's going to take you to the sites that actually have where procurements are posted, and also for a bunch of intermediaries that can help you, if you don't have a business plan, if you're not certified, if you need technical assistance, if you need financial assistance. There's a whole host of individuals, a whole network in LA that does that. And I'm going to plug for all you newbies something we're doing called Compete for LA, though, see, it has that compete word in it. But the reason it has that word in it is because you do have to step up. And today, we partnered with USC on a database. And so this is a pool of diverse suppliers, because these guys know what they're doing. But we've identified probably over 150,000 diverse suppliers in LA County right now that fit the different business sectors that go with these major sports and entertainment events. And what we want to do is we're rolling out 40,000 of them next month. And this is a free open database up to 200, where you can go in and buy NACE code, by geography, even by council district and supervisorial district. You can take a look at what is being offered. And as a small business, I would encourage you to go to competeforla.usc.edu, because you can sign up, and when we roll out next month, we'll include you. So that's compete for, with the letter, compete for LA. Yes, very good. Right on. Yes, the QR code right on your pamphlet. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about something that every single person has said here. They're all certified. So the importance of certification, right? And the fact that the culture and the business climate has changed somewhat in terms of categories that we have. So the way we look at it now is we're trying to lift up small and local businesses, right? Of which you are. So can you talk a little bit about certification and why it's important, and why you did it, and what you think what benefits there are?
Absolutely. I think I encourage everyone to be certified. There's numerous certifications out there, and they definitely do help. But what I also want to tell you is that these procurement people or companies are buying from you because of you, because you're really good at what you do, because you have a product, because you have an idea. So they're really buying from you because of the quality of service that you're providing. And I say that to you because oftentimes when you're small, sometimes we get scared. We think we're too small. Should we bid on this? You absolutely should. You should be fearless. You should ask the questions. I can assure you that the procurement officers from the various conferences and big events, they're buying everything imaginable. And so you really have to put yourself out there. And so yes, certifications do help, but you have to really be fearless and really ask the questions and show up and ask, are you buying this? And if so, can I submit a bid? Can I subcontract with you? If you collaborate with another company that's in a similar space, can you collaborate and submit a subcontract together to one of the primes?
But do you feel it's required? Like, would you have gotten the opportunities you had if you hadn't been certified?
Being certified definitely opened up a lot of doors. It definitely made introductions. But what I realized afterwards, being certified, once I got a seat in the table, they were buying from me directly. Not because I was certified, but because of the service that I was providing. But being certified definitely did help and open up doors. And I again, strongly do recommend everyone to be certified. And there's numerous certifications within the county, local governments, as well as some of the nonprofits. And they do open up doors, absolutely.
In your experience? No?
So when we first did the Super Bowl, we weren't certified, but that did open, the doors. And then once we got certified, there's been events where they just call us and like, hey, we saw you like on the database, and then it does give you a seat at the table. So I would definitely say it does give you a seat, but you still have to, do your work. You still have to be presentable and know what they're talking about.
Okay, so it opened the door, but it
Yes.
doesn't, it's not a slam dunk. You actually have to deliver and be good at what you're doing and have done your homework and all the things you mentioned.
Exactly.
Yes, and thank you. Before I answer this question, I got to give a shout out to my wife, Myra. She is running the registration. We got an opportunity to work this event through relationships, through the mayor's office. So Jive Live Entertainment's out there at the registration right now doing our part. But it's going back to these questions about being certified. I would be lying if I was saying I was always wanting to be certified. I was very resistant. Who else in this group just didn't want to fill out all that paperwork for all these things, right? Send your tax forms, give them your baby's social security numbers, God knows what else they wanted. It was one of those things where it's like, well, I don't really believe in badges and titles. I'm like, I don't need it. But my wife pushed me to get certified. We'll call it Jive Live 2.0 post-pandemic, after we had to reshuffle things a bit. And we got support from people in this room, from the mayor's office, from Libby, and some other people that helped us get our paperwork in line. It was a process, I'm not gonna lie, but it was one of those things where it's like, no, it's important that we show up. But more importantly, I do it to be the example for the other businesses. I might have an opportunity right now with the clients that we have and how it's all evolved for Jive Live. But if I'm not setting the example for the next generation of entrepreneurs and small businesses that I'm certified, and why it's important that we show up with the certification, so when we do have a seat at the table, we're undeniable. We're supposed to be there. Everyone in this room is supposed to be there.
Right.
So Rosa, thank you. What is this, does the city help people certify?
Oh, absolutely. If you were here for panel 1, you would have heard Bureau and Contracts Administration talk about certification. They can actually assist you with certification. We have 10 business source centers citywide that can actually support you with the application process and collection of documentation so that you can submit your certification packet. So please visit our exhibitor booth. We are here, the Economic and Workforce Development Department. We also have several of our business source centers here. And then most importantly, we also have our Procure LA, table that is focused specifically on procurement initiatives and resources, certification being one of them. So there's absolutely no reason, Mary, for all of these small businesses to not have a contract with these upcoming large events to our region here in Los Angeles, but also most importantly, with the city of Los Angeles or the county. Do you know how much we contract out on annual basis? Billions of dollars. Just our department alone, we oversee about over $15 million in contracting opportunities, and that should be one of you. So pay close attention to these wonderful, successful small business owners that have put the time and effort to get things done. And if they can do it, you can do it.
So Rosa, I'm so glad you just did that. Yeah, give her a round of applause. Because Rosa, let's talk about, and we can test with our small businesses here. Can you talk a little bit about the city's RAMP program, its procurement program, where all those billions of dollars rest? And then we're going to see if anybody here has actually tried to use RAMP or will use RAMP.
Yes. We have our lovely Ramp LA, the portal where you can actually register. So make sure you add your basics. NICS code, you probably heard of it. How many of you know what that means? Okay, yay, lots of you. Okay, you have to identify what kind of industry you're in and register so that you can receive, the announcements of some of those procurement opportunities. And so if you don't know how to register for Procure LA, come visit any one of our city tables. They should be able to assist you. And so that is where we are required to post all incoming, outgoing opportunities, internal, external. So it is definitely one portal that you should be registered on. And so tell me a little bit about that, Julio, because I know that it's not easy to navigate it, but tell me.
I've been operating my business for almost 2 decades in the city, so I've seen the evolution of the RFPs, of RAMP, and what role it plays in the city. One, make sure you're on the list to get the information for the RFPs, right? That's step one. So if you're not on that list, get on that list because the opportunities are there. It's just a matter of finding them and then applying, right? And I would also suggest when you're navigating it, some of those RFPs can be very daunting, right? Especially if you're not seeing for all the requirements they're asking, all the forms, you're like, why do I have to send all this stuff in? Once you go through it once, you'll have a template. And that template can last you years to apply for the future ones. And people in this room have gone through it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I think a lot of times, depending on where you're at in your journey of your business, we're afraid to ask for help. We're afraid to act like we don't know what we're doing. But the truth is, you have the services, you have the equipment, you have the knowledge and experience for these opportunities. So they're there, and I would encourage everybody to sign up. Me personally, I see them and I go through them. I have applied for some. I've received some. I worked with many of the different departments in the city. Fortunate right now that I'm at a place where a lot of my business comes from relationships. And the relationships start like this, in this room. So before you leave, make sure you meet some people and get some numbers and work with them and partner up with them on some of these ramp opportunities. It doesn't have to be by yourself. Find someone to support you. There's plenty of people in here that are all in the same boat. So get signed up.
Naomi?
Yeah, so I want to touch a little bit about the importance of signing up with RAMP. So when we first signed up, we had just gotten our certification, and then an emergency contract came around, and they're looking at your NAICS code. So once they see that you're certified, that you do have those references, once they're able to look it up, they will reach out and they will contract you. So yeah, it's the importance of that. It's the importance of certification. And like Julio said, when those RFPs do come up, I think it's important to just have everything turned on
simple and elegant, and I love
scroll through the RFPs, and then once again connecting back to Procure. Going through it and just prepping and yeah.
Thank you, Naomi, for that. How about you, Luis?
Oh, I love RAMP. I love RAMP. I've been CEO of Direct Link for 10 years now, and I use it daily. I'm checking it constantly. So before RAMP LA, there was different platforms out there, and you really had to look around everywhere, and it was really hard. And so I think the local agencies have made it really easy to bring all their procurement into the RAMP LA system. And what's really good about the RAMP LA system is that it's giving you all the information, the buyers, the meetings. This is when deadlines come in, very important, by the way. Prerequisite meetings, required documentations, et cetera. But there's also a lot of set-aside contracts for small businesses that have certain requirements, and those are golden, and people overlook those sometimes. And guess what? They're on RAMP LA. So I still use RAMP LA. We're there constantly. I oversee 10 different groups, so we're constantly procuring for the various divisions that I support. But RAMP LA is a great free tool, and we're very lucky in Los Angeles to have that such a tool. Other cities don't have such a well-versed platform like we do here in Los Angeles.
That is so good to hear. I can't even tell you, because that ramp reform was a 5 to 10 year effort, and to hear a small business actually say that it is really great to hear, because I think the city spent a lot of time and energy on that, and it's worked out. Now I'm wondering, on ramp, how important are partnerships and prime contractors? Do you target major people that win big bids? Are you looking to partner in with people? How does that work for you? How important are partnerships?
Absolutely. So we're prime for many contracts, but we're subprime for many other contracts. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and the great thing about LA Ramp, once you click on a bid that you're interested, it tells you all the potential bidding companies there, and you can reach them directly to subcontract. They're looking for you, and you're looking for them too. All those resources are in Ramp LA when you go into these RFPs. So once you go into, and it's public information, FYI, you should know that it's all public information. So you can reach out to the various companies of primes who are intending to bid and partner up with them. And guess what? There might be one contract that you're really interested, and there might be 80 potential bidders. You can subcontract with all 80 of them. One of them's going to win that contract. So I just want to, that's a strategy that we use constantly. So be mindful of that, and all of that is on Ramp, and you got to be just very diligent, persistent, and patient. And you have to have your capability statement, and again, highlight your competitive advantage as a small business owner. What is that you're really good, and why they need to subcontract with you, because the reality is that they need you more than you need them.
That's a good strategy. That's very good advice. Naomi, do you partner? Do you consider that a good way to go?
Yes, I would consider it a good way to go. Earlier this year, we actually obtained a really large contract and had a quick turnaround, and Ramp was actually a tool that we used, and we were looking to see, the capabilities. We were looking to see who was certified and who was in our area, quick turnaround references.
Yes, I definitely believe that, what's the expression? A rising tide raises all boats. So partner up with everyone in this room. I'm looking around, and I think I just submitted an RFP partnering with Be Social Productions. Cecilia, where are you at? You in here somewhere. And there's opportunities to partner, and there's times where you want to be the captain of the boat, right? And you go after that contract. At the end of the day, you are your business. You are selling your energy, your experience. You are the business. And I think when someone asks me, how do I, work on my business? How do I find the opportunities? I would start with this. Start by working on yourself, right? And what does that mean? And what I mean is just, don't stress out about the business. Get yourself in a place where you attract the opportunities you need, and that way you begin attracting maybe new relationships in this room. Maybe that sub-vendor you've been looking for is sitting across from you right now. My vendors for my events are an extension of my team. I cannot do the major stadium caliber type events we do for Red Bull, for the NBA, for the Clippers, for the NFL, without the people in this room. And in this room, I've partnered with several people, and I can plan between now and whenever this journey, wherever it takes me, to keep partnering with the right people at the right times so we can get to where we need to get to.
That is awesome. Big round of applause. Now, can you guys share with our small businesses here, what happens when you bid and, let's talk a little bit about access to capital, finances, right? Because when you are submitting, you are responding to a procurement opportunity, and you respond to that RFP, right? And you win. You have to be able to mobilize. And that impacts maybe your cash flow. How do you prepare for that? Let's tell our small businesses how to prepare for that.
When you're looking at these RFPs and RFIs that are out there, you really got to look at the terms of these contracts, what they're asking. They're all very different. They all have very different terms. So you got to understand the terms first. And then second, as a small business owner, you really got to factor out the pricing, right? You want to be competitive, but at the same time, you have to make money to make sure that you can afford the cost for that contract. And lastly, I think one of the things that I see often with some small businesses is they don't necessarily have the right insurance requirements. And so a lot of the procurement contracts that you see out there on Ramp, as well as just private contracts as well, they all have limits. And so, those limits, you may have to change your insurance requirements, and guess what? That's going to cost more. So you got to build that into your price. But all that information is on Ramp on all these contracts. You got to read what these requirements are. And if it's not for whatever reason, you got to find out, hey, what are the terms for this contract? But there are some preferences too in some of these contracts if you're a small business. So access to capital as well as payment terms. I know some contracts have a net 15s, net 30 if a certain dollar amount. So those little things help for sure.
And I would like to just add to that real quick as well. I would say just manage expectations. Some of these RFPs, if you ask for different terms, they will give them to you. Yeah. Just because it's written for a certain terms or paid in 90 days, it's not hard to ask the question, can we change these terms? Also, with your sub-vendors, manage the expectation of payment, right? I always believe people should get paid first. Talent and people should always get paid first. Rental equipment and stuff, maybe that we can hold on to that a little bit longer, but if you can pay the labor that comes out and you have the funds to do that, then great. And then me personally, I keep a line of credit available for clients, and as needed, depending on if it's an existing client, they'll have a line of credit with us. If it's a new client, I'm very cautious about lending money out to new clients, but manage expectations with the event organizer and also manage expectation with your vendors on when they get paid. It's easy to tell somebody later or during the process that they're going to get paid in 60 days versus the event's over and you're like, hey, can I pay you in 90 days? That's kind of a hard conversation to have, so manage expectations.
Okay, for the final round here, I want to know, because I watched you guys do it walking out here, okay? You all had your phones, you were all talking to your phones, you were all explaining where you were, you were all explaining what you were doing. You were clearly about to work social media, right? So how important is social media and communications to your success? Anybody can start.
All right, I got my social media manager right here. Cecil, raise your hand. I got a videographer in the back corner shooting my content. It's important to document your journey. It's sometimes weird, I know. Depending on who you are, where you're at, what age you are, it's tough. But sometimes it's important. Hire a videographer to come out to your event. There's amazing people on your team. Highlight them. We're not just a logo. Our clients see our faces. So highlight your team members. Share the overall experience of who you are and be authentic to your brand always. It doesn't have to be perfect. I've come to this conclusion that when I post, I'm just telling my story and sharing my energy out there in the world. But it is important to let people know what you are doing. So if you're not posting on your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Facebook, and who knows, God knows what else, making TikTok videos if that works for you, start slow, start small, and use ChatGPT. It'll do it all for you.
Yay, you answered the question I would follow up with. Are you using AI and how?
I use AI for everything. Everything. See these notes right here? Help me prepare for today. But I take it a step further when I prepare for these opportunities. It's not about just asking, hey, write me a script. I'm having conversations with it about what I'm doing, what it means to me to be in this seat today to speak to all you. I didn't come here today to speak to you to share just what I've been up to. I wanted you all to leave with a couple of gems of, just inspiration, motivation, whatever it is. But the one key takeaway is you have to be disciplined with your social media, using AI, and staying consistent with who you are. So use AI for your proposals, use AI for your social media, but talk to it like your personal assistant and keep separate threads for each event, for each client. I go back to a thread for a major client. I'm not going to just be dropping names all day, but a major client. And when I need an explanation or an email or some kind of update, I can go back to that thread and ask it. And I just don't use ChatGPT. I love Claude. So if you're not using Claude, highly recommend it for RFPs.
Yeah, I would say social media is the biggest key to our success. I have our social media manager right there, Dahlia. Yeah, so I came into ownership a year prior to COVID, and when it came to saving the restaurant, that was what saved our restaurant. I document absolutely everything. We were about to close our doors, posted the Chile Relleno, woke up with 10.5 million views and national coverage absolutely everywhere. And then from there, I just started connecting with our followers, with our audience, and just showing the transparency. Sometimes a client will come from social media. I know one of like our major government contracts came from social media because I had a small one and I was like, oh, like I did a vlog. I have a small government contract today. And then they looked us up on Actually Ramp. They're like, oh, she's actually, certified. So I mean, especially in LA, I always say that we're in the capital of entertainment, so use that to your advantage. So yeah, just document absolutely everything. And then, to what Julio said, I think ChatGPT is my cheapest and most profitable employee. I use it for absolutely everything. I have a different tab for absolutely everything, and it'll get everything done from RFP to building a social media plan.
So critical. Apparently social media is critical. What do you think?
Well, Direct Link has its own artificial intelligence division, and I can tell you that we definitely use it. And we use it in different ways, not only for the company, but also for our clients, because we are integrating AI for a lot of our clients, and we're doing stuff that you're going to see 2 years from now. And so that tells you that AI is not going away. So be very cautious with AI when you use it. There's still a lot of questions on intellectual property out there that the courts eventually will decide. So just be mindful, because it is your brand and you are protecting your brand. And then I think for social media, one of the things that we like to do is we really like to highlight our clients. We like to tell their story and what we did and how we collaborate. I think those authentic stories get a bigger impact than the AI content type things that you see out there. So I think be very intentional, be honest, but really engage with your clients and tell that story of that experience, that event, that product they bought from you, that service that they came back and remembered you. You just never know. There's always an opportunity somewhere. So take advantage of that and definitely use social media to tell that story responsibly.
Okay, Rosa, wrap us up.
All right. Well, listen, it has been our pleasure to be here with you all today. A big round of applause for Mary, for Luis, for Naomi, for Julio. And again, if you guys have any questions, come and find them, network with everyone, and thank you so much for being here today.